Okay, so for those of you that don't know, that Mike Ferry has a 21-point sales system. And so what I want to do over the next 21 weeks is go over each point of that sales system and write down a bunch of thoughts based on that sales system. So I think last week Neil did time management. I wasn't here Thursday or so. I think it was when he did it. So I'm hoping he did time management last week. If he didn't, let me know. Because that's part one of the sales system is time management. So part two of the Mike Ferry sales system is prospecting. So what I want to do today is go over some general thoughts on prospecting. Some of the stuff you've heard before, because we talked about prospecting a lot. I don't want you to leave, by the way. Some of you might be thinking, oh, okay, here we go. We've already heard about prospecting and you're going to check out. I would advise you to stay because there's going to be some points that even if you've heard them before are going to be great reminders because you might not be doing them. That's not, again, not being mean. We're all guilty of not doing everything we're supposed to do, present company included. So you might hear something like that, or you might hear something that you haven't thought of, or C, you might hear something that you've heard before, but maybe it's a different way of hearing it and it kind of resonates with you. So for those of you that have already checked out, because I said I was going to talk about prospecting, come back. Okay. Get the mind going again. The mind going again. All right. Fantastic. Okay. So let's talk about this. So number of thoughts on prospecting in the Mike Ferry sales system. So the first point I wrote down here is think about the following affirmation as you begin to prospect each day. Think about the following affirmation as you begin to prospect each day. I am efficient. I am effective. I am active. I am efficient. I am effective. I am productive. I am profitable. Think about that affirmation as you begin to prospect each day. Say it to yourself over and over again before you get on the phone. Now, for those of you that role play with us in the morning, we do the what?
Your screen had froze for a second. So could you say it one more time?
I'm not going to say it again. You missed the best part.
Oh,
just kidding.
It froze.
I am efficient. I am effective. I am productive. I am profitable. So before you begin prospecting each day, chant that out, write it out, get that in your mindset that you're efficient, effective, productive, and profitable. Now, when you roll, for those of you that role play with us in the morning, we do the I'm a great salesperson 3 times. Okay, that's another great affirmation you can use, but you have to get into the affirmation process before you begin your prospecting. If you think that's stupid, and don't lie to me, because I see some of you on the 9 o'clock when we do I'm a great salesperson, you sit there and don't do anything. So that some of you don't think it's dumb. Okay. Get over your ego. Get over your fear of embarrassment. Get over that. Oh, I don't want to do this in front of my family. I'm working from home. Get over that and do your affirmations at a high level every single morning before you begin prospecting. Okay. For those of you that ever watch sports, you know, what does the football team do before they run out in the field? They all huddle up, they're jumping around, they're going, all right, let's go, let's go, let's go. Right. That's their pump up. That's their affirmation before they go take the field. But you're a real estate agent. I get it. You're different. Point taken. All right. Point number 2. To make your prospecting time better, make your mornings media free. To make your prospecting time better, make your mornings media free. No TV, no radio, no newspapers, no emails, no voicemails, no social media. Make your mornings media free. The reason that makes your prospecting better, number 1, and more importantly, very few times will you read social media, read a newspaper, watch the news, and feel better afterwards. It's just not going to happen. So you're either A, it's going to be depressing news about something that died, someone that's unhealthy, something that's going on. So you're already in a negative mindset when you're prospecting. Or if you're on social media, you have a bunch of people posting fake stuff that makes you feel bad. Oh my gosh, look how thin they are. It only took 18 filters to get there. Right? And now you feel bad about yourself.
I have another one, Robert.
What's that?
It's a procrastination technique.
Well, that's true. It also will procrastinate you from getting what you need to be done. Right? So get off the media stuff in the morning. It's not going to help you. If nothing else, if you don't think it's going to make things worse, it certainly is not going to help. So why even bother with it? Make your prospecting better. Make your mornings media free. Don't worry. The negativity will be there. I promise. I promise. All right. Number 3, create an efficient pre-prospecting routine. Create an efficient pre-prospecting routine. So here's a couple of examples of a pre-prospecting routine. This is not the set in stone commandments of pre-prospecting routine. This is an example. You decide what's best for you. You come up with your own routine. But here's an example. Get up at a specific time every day. Okay. What time do you get up every day? Blah, 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 blah. Get up at a time also to note, get up at a time where you're not rushed in the morning. I'm not going to spend too much time harping on that. It drives me nuts when people say they can't get up on time. Do some form of exercise or stretching. Get the blood flowing. Some of you, I've heard, you talk about before, Neil talks about this, Armin, a couple other people talk about getting on the Peloton in the morning. That's fine. Some of you might go for a run. I know Yvonne works out in the mornings, but if you can't do anything like that, do some stretching. Just get the blood flowing. Have a healthy breakfast. 2 donuts, 2 coffees, couple eggs, and a couple slices of bacon will probably not energize you to go prospect. Just telling you. Okay. You do you. Do your affirmations early. Talk about that. Do your affirmations early. Arrive at a specific time each morning at the office. Now, keep in mind, if you're going to the office, that's that. But even if you're working from home, treat your home as your office, wherever your destination to work is. So if you're working out of your kitchen, for example, treat that as your office to say, I have to arrive a specific time in front of my computer prepared to work, even though my office is my kitchen. Mike Ferry, what Mike Ferry used to do, some of you know this. So what Mike Ferry used to do when he first started his coaching company, he worked out of his home. So what he would do is he would suit up, fully suit up. He'd grab his briefcase. He'd walk out the front door, go down to the end of the driveway, turn around, walk back into the front door so he could pretend as if he's opening up his office door, go to his office, set his briefcase down, take off his suit jacket and start working. That's what he would do, even though he's working from home. Some of you need to do that. Okay. I'm suited every day, even though I'm working from home. Some of you do the same thing, but some of you don't. Clear your desk and get your prospects' numbers prepared. Don't have a mess at your desk if you want to have better prospecting. Role play enthusiastically. Role play enthusiastically. Everybody, no matter what your pre-prospecting routine, should have some sort of role player practice. Everybody should have that. Everybody warms up. Actors warm up before they take the stage. Athletes warm up before they take the field or court. Dancers warm up before they do a routine. Everybody warms up. Real estate agents need to do the same thing. And then have the mindset that you're going to have some fun prospecting. So those are some ideas of some pre-prospecting routines. You come up with your own routine. You can use Act 1. You can take points from that. You can come up with whatever you want to do, but you need some sort of pre-prospecting routine. Getting to the office at 9 and picking up the phone and starting dialing is not going to be good prospecting. It's just not going to do it. Michael Jordan did not show up to the stadium 5 minutes before game time and say, let's go. And he was the greatest to ever do it. Okay? Don't do that to yourself. All right, number 4, we must work to strengthen the link between prospecting and achieving the goals that we have set. We must work to strengthen the link between prospecting and achieving the goals that we have set. What that means is that you need to connect the dots. Is I want to accomplish X. Now, one, you have to know what X is. What do you want to accomplish? That's number 1. And then understand that the prospecting you're going to do, how is that going to get you X? You have to connect the dots. You have to strengthen the link. If you don't do that, if you don't know what your goal is, you don't know what X is, then your prospecting is not going to be efficient or effective because you have no idea why you're doing it. Or B, you know what your goal is, but you haven't figured out how prospecting is going to help you get there because all you're thinking about is I need the deals. And you're not connecting how prospecting is a step to get there. So it also is not going to make it effective. So you need to strengthen the link between prospecting and achieving the goals that you've set. So I'll give you an example of that. Let's say that your goal is, just for the basic purposes of this particular exercise, is you say, well, I want to pay for my kids' college next year. Okay, they're going to college. I want to pay for the first year's college. Okay, well, how much money do you need to be able to do that and still be able to pay your everyday bills and things like that? And you say, I need, $150,000. Okay, great. So you need $150,000. That's the X, right? That's the goal, to pay for the kids' college. Okay, great. How I get that to prospecting is working backwards. So how many deals is $150,000? Well, it's 15 deals. Okay, great. So how many listings do you need to go on? Well, I need to go on 30 listings. Okay. So then how many appointments do you need to set? I need to set 45 appointments. Okay. How many contacts do you need for 45 appointments? I need 5,000. Okay. Whatever the number may be. Okay, great. So how many hours do you need to prospect for 5,000 contacts? 500 hours. Okay, great. How many days are you going to work? 250. So you need to prospect 2 hours a day. That's how you connect the dots to prospecting to the goal. But if you don't do all those steps, I'm telling you, not going to work. Not going to work. Which brings me to point 5, which is we must make a commitment to build our business through daily efficient prospecting. We must make a commitment to build our business through daily efficient prospecting. You will not build your business through daily efficient Facebook ads. You won't build your business through daily efficient sitting around and hoping my database calls me. You won't build your business through daily efficient postcard mailings. All things that you can do, Facebook, social media, all things that can help, all things that can get you a deal. Postcards, not a big fan of, but all things that you can do. Those are other things you can do, but you must make the commitment to build your business through daily efficient prospecting, talking to people. Or as Mike Ferry would say, talk to people you know, talk to people you don't know, and try to say something intelligent, which is one of my favorite lines. All right. Number 6, I wrote down, we must determine where our business comes from before we decide where we are going to get our business from. Such a great line. We must determine where our business comes from before we decide where we are going to get our business from. Create a simple system for sourcing all of your closings. If you don't know where your business comes from, how do you know you're prospecting the most efficient and productive source? Well, I call for sale by owners because that's what we're supposed to do. When's the last time you closed one? I've never done it. It's probably not a good source, but keep going. Well, where does your business come from then? Past clients, centers of influence. Okay, great. Where else does it come from? Just listed, just sold. Where else does it come from? Well, I do get some social media stuff. Okay. Why don't you spend more time on those 3 things and never call a for sale by owner ever again. I'm not being mean. For sale by owners are hard. Expireds are hard. But sometimes for some of you, you might close some of those, so use them as a source. But some of you might call for sale by owners because that's what you're supposed to do, and you've never closed one in your life, and you're closing business and other sources. Well, why are you spending any time, effort, and energy on something you've never closed? And instead take that time, effort, and energy, put it back to the sources that you are closing to get more closings. So you have to know where your closings are come from. And if you don't have a lot of closings because you're new, where are your leads coming from? Or where, if nothing else, where are your best conversations coming from? So Robert, I'm newer. I've never closed the deal. How do I know where my closings have come from? Well, call people and then figure out, you know what? I'm calling for sale by owners. I'm just using for sale by owners as an example. I'm not saying they're not a source, because some of you do a great job with them. I'm calling for sale by owners. They hang up on me. They hate me. They never do that. I'm calling just listed, just sold. I'm at least getting good conversations. Okay, great. Then start there. Start where you're getting the good conversations. If you don't have enough closings to track where your closings have come from, start with the sources. Where are you getting your best conversations? Where are you getting leads from? Start there. And then when you start getting the closings, then you can start tracking that. Okay. All right. But you have to also shift your mindset that just because one source works for somebody else and it doesn't work for you, doesn't mean that you're failing. It just means that you need to work a different source. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. Some people do great with for sale by owners. Some people will never close one. Doesn't mean you stink. You're not any good because that agent's closing for sale by owners and you're not. Maybe you're just better at other sources. So don't get in that mindset. All right, next point I wrote down. Our business generally comes from either waiting, buying, or going out and finding it. Our business generally comes from either waiting, buying, or going out and finding it. 80 to 90% should come from finding it. At least 80% should come from finding it. So what I mean by that is, as you get more exposed in the business, as you get more deals, and some of you that have been around for a while understand this, that some of the closings just come to you, meaning that you will have some past clients that just call you and say, I need to list or buy again. Okay. You didn't go out and find it. You didn't prospect it. They called you. That does happen. You have a listing and you're getting sign calls. So you're not going out and finding it. They're just contacting you. So as you grow your business, you will get probably 20% of your business coming from they're just calling you for some reason, but 80% is probably going to be going out and finding it. Now, here's the key point. Staying in touch with your database counts as going out and finding it, because 80% of your business is not going to come from just listed, just sold, expired, for sale by owners, for rent by owners, absentee owners, all these other different things. Going out and finding it is staying in touch with your database, giving them a call every couple months, sending them emails, asking them for referrals. That's going out and finding it, even though you're just staying in touch with your database. Okay. So here's the key thing to understand with point 7. If more than 20% of your business is coming from, well, they're just calling me, then you have to think to yourself, holy cow, imagine if I put in the extra time to go out and find business, how many more transactions I would have. If I'm getting 50% of my business is just coming from there, that means I'm not prospecting nearly enough. And if I did, blow the doors off. You have to change that mentality. Don't settle just because you're getting some people calling you. All right, I wrote down here next. We must understand why prospecting is difficult at times. We must understand why prospecting is difficult at times. Prospecting can be difficult because I don't know how to prospect. Meaning that I don't even know where to start. Do I call? Where do I get numbers from? How do I make sure it's not on the do not call list? I don't even know the process. Okay. That can make it difficult. I don't know what to say can certainly make it difficult. Okay. I got the phone numbers. Well, what the hell do I tell these people? If somebody answers the phone, what do I do? If I don't know what to say, if they ask me a question and I don't know what to say, that can make the job very difficult. You have non-productive work habits, could make prospecting very difficult. Non-productive work habits could be that you're easily distracted or you're looking for distractions, also known as creative avoidance. You can't handle rejection, acceptance, or embarrassment. Could be a reason why prospecting is difficult. You're going to get rejected a lot. If you can't handle rejection, prospecting is going to be difficult. If you're a single male and you can't handle rejection, finding a partner is going to be very difficult. It's just the way of the world. Learn to deal with rejection. But also embarrassment. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I stuttered. I stumbled on my words. I said their name wrong. Oh my gosh. It happens. It happens to everybody. But if you can't handle it, prospecting is going to be difficult. I don't track my numbers, so prospecting is difficult. If you don't track your numbers, prospecting can be difficult. So funny story on tracking your numbers. I had a coaching call with an agent recently, and I said, "You're not tracking your numbers." And she goes, I know. I said, but that's okay. You know, that makes you a normal real estate agent. She goes, I don't want to be a normal real estate agent. I said, okay, then track your numbers. She's been tracking her numbers ever since. So for those of you that want to be a normal real estate agent, don't worry about tracking your numbers. That's normal. But if you don't want to be a normal real estate agent, track your numbers. It's not hard, but you don't want to do it because you don't like what you see. Prospecting can be difficult because you're not getting enough results. You don't feel like you're moving forward. You're not getting the results that you want. So prospecting can be difficult. Or the last one I wrote down, prospecting can be difficult because you have a basic fear of prospecting. You have a basic fear of talking to people. You have a basic fear of getting on the phone. You just have a basic fear of prospecting. Let me tell you something, folks. That's not abnormal. What's the old thing? I don't know if this is still accurate. I remember this from years ago, that the biggest fear of people is public speaking, and death is number 2. So this is a real thing. Some of you probably have heard this before. This was like a real study years ago. I don't know if this is still accurate. This is, 10, 15 years ago, was people would rather die than public speak. So a fear of prospecting, a fear of talking to strangers, or a fear of asking for business from people that you know, that's not an abnormal thing. But you either have to get over it or it is not going to work. I'm not trying to be mean. Is what it is. But you have to understand for you why prospecting is difficult at times, and then figure out how to overcome that difficulty. So if prospecting is difficult for you because you go, well, I don't know what to say, well, then learn the scripts. I mean, we have a script for everything. Yesterday, a great example. Yesterday, we were doing the role play, and the objection was, I have a friend in the business at the table, right? Oh, obviously he had me out here for a reason, blah, blah, blah. And one of the agents goes, well, what if you get that objection over the phone? And I clicked on the link and I said, here it is. There's a script for everything. So if your difficulty is, I don't know what to say, learn the damn scripts. Okay. Oh, I don't know what scripts to learn. Give me a break. Yes, you do. All right. So figure out why it can be difficult for you at times, and then either find a way to get over that, or you're going to constantly have the problems. All right, the next thing I wrote down on prospecting, when you're calling for sale by owners or expired listings, have the mentality that you're going to have to call them multiple times a day until you reach them. So you might have to call at 8 a.m. and then again at noon, and then maybe at 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. And then if you can't reach them by phone, go to the door. If you're going to really get after for sale by owners and expireds, then you need to kind of take on the mentality that I'm going to do everything I can to get them on the phone. The reason you have to have that mentality is those are two sources that a bunch of people prospect. You know, a just listed, just sold, you don't have to call multiple times a day because the chances of someone else calling them is not very likely. For sale by owner, as soon as it goes up on for sale by owner on Zillow or Craigslist or whatever the case may be, that person's bombarded with phone calls. As soon as an expired listing comes on the market, they're bombarded with phone calls. So you have to call early, midday, later in the afternoon. And if you can't reach them, go to the door. Okay. Otherwise, don't even try to prospect them. All right. Now you need to make a minimum. You need to set the mindset that you need to make a minimum of 8 to 10 contacts per hour when you prospect. You also need to prospect a minimum of 2 hours per day, no matter what your goals are for the year. Now, for some of you, we would recommend, not for some of you, for all of you, we'd recommend prospecting more than 2 hours a day. But you need to make a minimum standard of 2 hours a day, no matter what. Well, I have an inspection in the morning that I just can't move. Okay, great. Make up your prospecting later in the day. Or if your inspection's at 10, prospect from 8 to 9. Unless you're doing role play, then don't prospect in the morning and then prospect for the 2 hours when you get back. No matter what, you have to prospect a minimum of 2 hours a day, but you should be more. And you should be making 8 to 10 contacts per hour. If you're not making 8 to 10 contacts per hour, you are not fully focused on prospecting for that hour. So here's what I mean. Well, Robert, I'm hand dialing. Okay, great. Then you should be dialing like this. Okay, headphones on, or let's just say phones to the ear. Bum, 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 bum. No answer. Bum, 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 bum. No answer. Bum, bum, bum. I'm not dropping the phone. I'm not hanging up the phone, looking at the number. Okay. All right, let me call this one. No, phone's staying straight to the ear. All I'm doing is hitting that receiver to hang up and dial again until I get somebody on the phone. My hands are moving as fast as they can. That's how you should be prospecting if you're not using a dialer, which is fine. And if you're telling me that the numbers are no good, then pay to get better numbers. But you should be making 8 to 10 contacts per hour. Next point I wrote down, the sooner we memorize and internalize the prospecting scripts through practice and role play, the better chance you will have of staying on your schedule. The sooner we memorize and internalize the prospecting scripts through practice and role play, the better chance you will have of staying on your schedule. You'll be able to stay on your schedule because you'll be able to get your prospecting done in the amount of time that you need to get done because you're staying on script. You can get through calls faster. You can get through contacts faster. Not faster as I'm trying to get them off the phone faster, but a just listed call when you know the script might take a minute, where if you don't know the script and you're and ah, and you're just saying a bunch of, rabble jabble, that might take you 2 to 3 minutes, and then it's taking you longer to get through the contacts. The sooner we memorize and internal the prospecting scripts through practice and role play, the better chance you will have on staying on your schedule. Memorize, internalize the scripts. See, we don't connect that dot of memorizing the scripts to the schedule. Because if your goal is 30 contacts, you know the scripts, you can get 30 contacts more efficiently than if you don't know it. So instead of prospecting for 3 hours, you're going to have to prospect for 4 or 5, which then bleeds into other parts of your schedule. Because then you'll say, well, I guess I can't preview today. And if Neil Schwartz was here to hear you say that. All right, the next point I wrote down, I want everyone to underline this, or if you're typing it, put it in bold, whatever the case may be. Practice and role play the most common objections you receive while prospecting. Identify the ones that you get most often and spend more time on that. Practice the scripts that you receive. And then here's what I say on this. You're only going to receive a couple of objections. So instead of knowing 40 different or 30 or 25 different objections you might get, know 4 objections, but know 3 or 4 different ways of handling that. So I'll give you an example. Commission, price, I have a friend in the business, we want to think about it. That's what you're going to get. So don't worry about memorizing, I don't see your signs in the yard. I've never heard of your company. You know, if I sell with you, will I get a discount on the buying? That happens once every so often, but it doesn't happen enough for you to spend time role playing, practicing it. Spend all your time on the common objections you get, and then know 3 or 4 different ways of handling that. That's what you should be practicing in role playing. By the way, if someone ever says, I never see your signs in the yard, the proper objection handler is, that's because my home sells so fast. Sign goes up, comes right back down, done and done. There was a freebie for you, just in case anyone ever asks. All right, but focus on those types of things. If you really want to take it to the next level, handle each objection based on its personality style. So if someone gives you a commission objection, learn a couple ways of handling it. And if you want the advanced version, is handle it as if you're talking to an expressive, handle it as if you're talking to an analytical, driver, amiable. So that way you're getting the main objections really, really handled. And when you get all the main objections really, really handled, if they throw you a loop, you'll be so savvy with the script, you'll be able to come up with something. Because guess what? Nobody else is going to know how to respond to it either. So at least you'll be able to respond reasonably because you've got some sort of practice and knowledge of what to say and how to say it with other stuff. All right, I wrote down here in terms of role play, ask your role play partners to be tough because it makes you a better prospector, but always end your role play on a positive note. I tell this to some of you at the 8 a.m. role play. Some of you are just too hard. Okay. Some of you role play and you're trying to get the person to fail, or you won't set the appointment at the end. You know what? I'm okay. Actually, I'm good. That's not how you're supposed to properly role play. You're going to get rejected all day. So you're going to role play rejection. That makes no sense. Always give the person the appointment or give them the contract. Okay. But you could be a little tough, but don't be unreasonable. Some of you come up with the most unreasonable things when you're role playing. Well, you can come over, but I'm not going to sign anything. You can come over, but I'm not really interested in selling. It's like, well, if I was in reality, I would just tell you then, okay, well, I'm not coming over. I mean, that's just not good role play. So be tough, but always end the role play on a positive note. Give them the appointment, give them the contract, right? Don't be I was going to say something very inappropriate. Don't be mean. I mean, don't do that. It's crazy. I understand why people do that. All right, very good. Very good, very good. Okay, Mike Ferry's got the 3-3-3 rule. 3-3-3 rule of calling people. After the phone rings 3 times, hang up. Okay, that's number 1. After the phone rings 3 times, hang up. Once you have called them 3 times with no response, throw them away. And when you have 3 times and don't get an appointment, throw them away. When the phone rings at 3 times, you hang up because it's just time wasted. Okay, go on to the next call. If you've called them 3 times and no response, throw them away. Okay, if you call an expire, call for sale by owner, you're trying to get in touch with someone, throw them away. Or if you've talked to them 3 times and you still can't get an appointment, throw them away. You've talked to them for sale by owner 3 times. They're still not interested in setting an appointment. Okay, throw them away. Go find somebody else. All right, next point here. The hardest call we make is many times our first call of the day. The hardest call we make is many times our first call of the day. Therefore, call a past client or center of influence, which will bring positive feedback which boost our confidence when we start prospecting. So for some of you, the hardest part is getting started. It's like that for a lot of things in life. You know, you take some time off from the gym, for example, it's that first day back, and then you get in the groove. Prospecting is the same thing. It's like, oh gosh, I really don't want to prospect. The first call of the day. Okay, let's go. Well, call someone that might give you some positive feedback. Doesn't always have to be your mother. I'm going to call my mom first. She's probably not going to buy or sell, but she's going to make me feel real good. Although some of you might go, I'm not calling my mother. She makes me feel miserable. That's a different story. Some of us have different problems. Okay. But, you know, call past client center of influence. Start your day on a positive note. I also truly believe this is a Robert Hertel thing, which means it doesn't make it right or wrong. Okay. This is just my own personal thoughts on prospecting. I would make my first calls of the day my leads, and then my database. First calls I would make of the day. Why? Because typically we are most energetic and most motivated and most focused first thing in the morning. So I want to call my money makers when I'm focused and motivated. My money makers are my leads. I have leads. I'm going to call them when I'm here because I want to convert them to money. I don't want to call my leads after I've been rejected 25 times for 2.5 hours. Because now my energy level is here and is now down here, and I'm calling my money makers with lower energy and a beat up mentality. That doesn't make any sense to me. Again, doesn't make it right or wrong, it's just me. I want to call them when I'm fresh. And then I would call my database second because that's my second biggest money maker. So I'm calling them again when I'm really focused, really energetic, really zoomed in. I'll call the expireds when I'm beat up. When I'm just down and tired, then I'll call an expired because my chances of getting them to money the way my leads or database is not as high. So I'll call them when I'm just trying to get my contacts. I'll do just listed, just sold when I'm already beat up and I'm trying to get my contacts. I want to call my money makers first when I have my energy, my motivation, my excitement. I just did my affirmations. It's just my thoughts. Take it for what you want. All right, I wrote down here next. Speaking of that, always have your past clients and centers of influence list handy, because when you're ever really, really beat up and down, switch your sources to call some past client centers of influence. Let's say you're prospecting from 9 to 12 and at 10:30, you're just beat up. You've been no, wrong number, disconnected number, and you just feel beat. You need to have that past client center of influence list ready, which is sometimes pretty easy because you can just open up your cell phone and then, hey, let me switch this out. Let me go back to past client centers of influence because they're never really going to reject me. They just might tell me they're not available, but at least the conversation will be better. Get yourself back going. You always need to have that list available. All right, I know we're at 1 o'clock here, but let me just get a couple more points in, then we'll wrap up. I promise. All right. Since you are going to be prospecting for the rest of your life, work daily on your mindset. Since you're going to be prospecting for the rest of your life, work daily on your mindset. You have to constantly, it's a mindset thing that you have to accept the fact that if you want to continuously grow your business, prospecting is going to have to be a part of it. So you have to work daily on your mindset and your thoughts in regards to that. Okay. And then I wrote down here, turn off your phone, your computer. I mean, if you need your computer for your dialer, close your emails, close your internet, browsers, things like that. Don't check your voicemail or email until after your prospecting is completed. Here's why. I've said this many times before, but it bears repeating. The study shows when you're fully focused on something, if you get off focus, it could take you up to 11 minutes to get back to that level of focus. So if your phone's on and you're prospecting right here, you're focused and your phone's on, there is no way in hell you will be able to resist looking at your phone to see what happened. No way. Somebody texts you, you will go like this. If you have notifications on your phone of when you get a Facebook message, Instagram message, or whatever else, you will go like this. That ping, that flash, that buzz, you'll go like this, guaranteed. Present company included. So when you have your phone on, when you're prospecting, you're here, phone goes off, boom, focus is now here. It could take me 11 minutes to get back here. Whew. Imagine having that happen 3 or 4 times in a prospecting session. You're at 33, 44, 55 minutes of just getting back to focus. Wild, man. Telling you, you have to turn that stuff off to keep your prospecting at a really high level. Okay. You just have to do it. All right. And then one more point. I have a lot of points here. So let me scroll down to I have like 6 or 7 points left, but we'll just go down here. All right. All right. So then I wrote down here, last point we'll talk about. Okay. While prospecting, stay mentally focused on the following thoughts. While prospecting, stay mentally focused on the following thoughts. There is somebody in my marketplace that wants to buy or sell today. Let's find them. There is somebody in my marketplace that wants to buy or sell today. Let's find them. That's one thought. And the second thought is this: prospecting is a simple process, but not easy. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. While prospecting, stay mentally focused on the following thoughts. There's somebody in my marketplace that wants to buy or sell today. Let's find them. And 2, prospecting is a simple process, but not easy. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. If you keep that mentally focused while you're prospecting, it'll keep you going. And if you don't believe that there's somebody that's going to buy or sell their home today, then what the hell are you prospecting for? That makes no sense. So you have to keep that mentality. Okay, somebody's going to do it. And if you don't think that somebody's going to do it, go look at the market stats. Guarantee in the places that you're willing to take a deal, somebody took a listing, got a deal into S something day. You just got to go find them. Keep that mentality. And it's simple, but it's not easy. No one's telling you prospecting is easy. I'm not telling you prospecting is easy. It's hard and it sucks, but there's no shortcuts to any place worth going. You have to keep that mentally. All right. That's all I got. That's my thoughts on prospecting based on Mike Ferry's 21-point plan of action. So, all right. Hopefully there was something in there that was valuable or